Alright, so welcome back. Now we're in this last module, and this video is just about the second test, final exam if you want to call it that. Give you some tips, tricks, insights relative to prepping for it. So some things that you need to be familiar with. Let's say that I gave you three graphs. One was overfitting, one was underfitting, and one was a good fit. Could you distinguish which was which? And we've seen examples of all three in a variety of places. Let's say that you've got a plot that shows an error rate versus a tree size for a decision tree classifier. What things are important when it comes to a decision tree classifier? How does the value of k factor into the plot? Okay. Here's some other things. We have a good understanding of why we would use machine learning. Be familiar with the term hyperplane, where that term came from, what it means. Be familiar with what a confusion matrix is. Know the difference between an imbalanced data set and a balanced data set, and what issues exist when a data set is imbalanced. Know when certain types of machine learning algorithms would be used as opposed to others. Now, with that, there were examples where we were talking about machine learning, which algorithms or which models we would use for different types of problems, whether supervised, unsupervised, or clustering. Understand what holdout validation is, what an internal node in a decision tree is. Keep in mind, it's that noted, be familiar with what underfitting and overfitting is, and when those come into play, what causes them and how we address them. Be familiar with, you'll likely see questions relative to some aspects of statistics relative to big data. Be able to distinguish between supervised and unsupervised learning. Difference between holdout validation and k-fold cross validation. What a support vector machine is, what a decision tree is. The difference between normal regression and logistic regression. Be familiar with the four quadrants that we dealt with when it came to false positives, and when we were looking at error and calculating the F1 score. be familiar with those 4 different quadrants and how each one differs from the other, which ones are important more so than the others. Be familiar with cross-validation. Again, false positives, false negatives. At a certain point, we discussed the area under the curve. Make sure that you understand the difference between AUC and ROC and the relationship between them. What a typical training and validation set may look like. We're talking about training set, validation set, test set. And from there, it's all similar to what we dealt with in that first test. Only difference would be that there's 25 true false this go and 10 multiple choice. The true false, they're worth, I think, 2 points apiece, and the multiple choice, they're 5 points apiece. We've got 50 points for multiple choice and 50 points for true false. You got an hour to knock the whole thing out. Once you start, you got to finish it. You only get 1 question at a time. When you answer that question, you can't go back to it again. So, with that said, keep in mind there's bonus points. There's not as many still available, but there's still some bonus points available. Let's say that if you already did 5 of the notebooks and you did good on them, one of them you could only get 100 points. This last one you get 110. That could help. Doing the course eval at the end, there's another 2 points. That could help. Every little thing helps. So with that said, appreciate you in the course. Stay focused all the way to the end. Prep for the exam. It is comprehensive, primarily covering the second half of the course. All right? But it's not something where, oh, you're going to get anything from anywhere. Focus is on the second half of the course. All right. So with that said, appreciate you, and we'll see you in another course.